Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be on a beautiful block printed terracotta set. To begin with, we start off with a slab of 0.6 centimeters in thickness. Smoothen this using my fettling knife. This is the block, the wooden block that I intend to use, and I line this well with oil, rather brush it well with oil. Press it down really well, making sure I get a good impression on the clay. Gently removing it to reveal the design. I just add a little texture. This is just a ball tool, more like a stylus tool, and this is just to change the texture because this wooden block of mine is pretty old and it did have a crack, a little crack. So to cover that up, I think this kind of a texture really helped. I cut out the sides and smoothen them, and then putting in the hooks. Nichrome wire hooks that I'm using over here are gauge 24. Attaching a few stick beads as well. You see that the pendant is ready. Now for the earrings. The slab thickness is 0.3 centimeters and I smoothen this using my fettling knife. Using a small cookie cutter, I cut out a pair of these little square shapes. Smoothen them. I attach the hooks. I'm using gauge 26 Nichrome wire U-pins over here. I let that dry for a little bit. Once again, back to the block. I just line mostly the center with a little bit of oil because that's the impression that I'm looking to create on the clay slab. So I just need that central part for the bottom part of the earring. I repeat the same thing by adding some more texture using my stylus ball tool. Attach a few stick beads, 3 to be precise. Again, for joining the top part of the stud to the bottom, I'm using gauge 26 Nichrome wire U-pins. This is for the bead. It's just a long bead that I'm creating for this particular set. I just think it will go really well for this particular pendant. The bead for this one basically measures about 5 centimeters. Actually measures exactly 5 centimeters. I line it with a little bit of oil and then make a hole through the bead. Using my fettling knife, add a couple of designs. And there, the entire piece is ready. We let this dry. Then this is fired in an electric kiln. Once it's fired, we can begin painting upon this. So I've laid out everything that is needed. The earrings, the pendant, it's got a beautiful, nice terracotta color. I have a few round beads as well as some nelikai beads over there, which you already see that I've already painted. That's because this time when I went to the store, I didn't get my regular brand, so I just bought this instead, and I wanted to try how these colors were. And they are also acrylic paints, but they are matte. But they're pretty nice. I like the way they are as well, so it's a good alternative. I'm also using antique gold, and these are the only 3 colors that I'm using. So I'm diluting the paint, giving the base coat of green. It's a lovely green. The stick beads are going to be in the maroon color. I mean, this is somewhere in between a red and a maroon. It's a gorgeous color, and I think I really liked this particular combination. I think it's a classic combination. I think green and red can never go wrong. So for the bead, I'm doing it all red or maroon. The stick beads, for all of them, for the pendant as well as for the earrings, it's all going to be in this color. Now with my liner brush, adding a few details to the bead. Using antique gold, adding a beautiful wine-like pattern for the bead. I doubt you would have expected that this is what is going to happen to the bead. You probably thought I would leave it plain or something. Repeating the similar pattern for the stud as well. I am using my liner brush for all these little details, filling in some red and gold just to add a little bit of more color and vibrance to the pendant. Now that you see everything is dried, it's time to varnish. This is the product I use. I give it a good shake and transfer a little bit of the contents into a bowl or a container, and using a broad bristle soft brush, I apply a generous coat all over. Like I said, these paints are matte, so as soon as I put on the varnish, which is satin gloss varnish, it does tend to become a bit glossy. Now that you see the entire thing is dried completely, it's all set, everything is ready to be put together. We'll first begin with the earrings. Attach the stud post. As you all know, I think for the studs I have been using E6000. After attaching it, I just give it a bit of a press, making sure it's intact. So that's the way I intend to assemble this, and what I'm doing over here is basically inserting a black cord of 1.5 mm in thickness. So obviously cumulatively when they come together they become 3 mm. So instead of knotting it, what I'm doing is using a crimp cover. Now I know that this particular crimp cover is going to fit in this 3 mm one, so I know that the cords are not going to become loose or the beads are not going to move. But you could also just knot it and stick to the older method if needed. For the wooden bead, I try and insert all the 4 cords through the wooden bead. After that, I knot the ends. I am going to be making tassels for this one. I'm using this color, an Egyptian cotton cord for this one. You've seen me do this a couple of times now. So wind it around. This is just a glue bottle, and the size somehow seems to work perfectly for the tassels that I look at creating. Wind it around a couple of times like this to get a nice, fairly thick tassel. Making sure that knot is completely sealed. I use a gold thread and I work on the rest of the tassel. I trim it, making sure it's all even. And there, I have a little bit of Fevicol or any sort of glue just to hold on to that thread well. And the set is ready. It's a beautiful set, a classic green and red with some gold. It's a lovely color combination. You will have no trouble trying to match this with any sari, even a Kerala sari as a matter of fact. So I really hope you all enjoyed watching this video, everyone. Please do let me know what you think of the video in the comment section, and as always, I'll get back to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching.